Next question is again a current affair in relation to WTO. The question is, what is the term zeroing methodology is in news, okay? The term zeroing methodology, okay? So before going into zeroing methodology, okay, you need to have an idea about dumping or anti-dumping duty. Already have discussed about anti-dumping duty. But in order to understand the zeroing methodology, I will go back again to anti-dumping concept, okay. For example, I already discussed, okay, if any particular product, okay, take the case of a computer, okay, or any product, okay. Here that product prices, imagine that in the home market, the price of a product is $500. And what that country is doing is that they are exporting that product at a lower price than the home market price, at $400. So this exporting a product lower than the home market price is what is called as dumping. Okay, so here there is a dumping margin of rupees $100. So an importing country, what they can do, once they feel that dumping has happened, they can impose anti-dumping duty because they have dumped this product and the dumping margin is. So anti-dumping duty is imposed when the export price is lower than the home market price. And if the export price is higher than or equal to home market price, there can't be any anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty can be imposed when the export price is lower than the home market price. Okay, now take this case. Okay, so we know that when anti-dumping duty is imposed. Now take the case, if the export, we know that home market price is $500, but the export price is $600. So here, export price is higher than the home market price. So here the dumping margin is negative. Since the dumping margin is negative, that means the export price is higher than the home market price. Here in this case, there will be no anti-dumping duty. Okay, so anti-dumping duty can't be imposed if the export price is higher than the home market price. Now try to understand, I'm just giving an example. Okay, China. Take the case of China and US because there is always a conflict in case of China and US, okay. If imagine China is doing something, okay. China is exporting a product. 50% of that particular product have been exported, 50% of that product is being imported at an export price of $400. Remaining 50% is imported at $600. Now what happened is that normally, since 50% of the product is exported with an anti-dumping margin of $100 and 50% of the product is exported at $600, which is having a negative dumping margin of $100, if you take the total anti-dumping duty, total product, it will become zero. Because if you take the total export, there will be what happens is that there is a dumping margin, 50% of the product is having a dumping margin of $100, 50% of the product is having a negative dumping margin of $100. So if you take the total product, there will be no anti-dumping duty. Okay, this is the normal mechanism. But in US does not consider, okay, in US, while considering anti-dumping duty, in US what happened is, if the export price is $600, it means that there is a negative dumping margin. But in US will not consider this negative dumping margin. What US will do? US will disregard all the negative dumping margin. US will disregard all the negative dumping margin and consider them as zero. So in US, while calculating anti-dumping duty, it will not consider any negative dumping margin. It will calculate as zero. So what US will do, for 50% of the product where they have exported at a negative dumping margin, they will not impose any anti-dumping duty. But the remaining 50% of the product where they have exported at a lower price, to that product, US will impose a anti-dumping duty. Okay, so this concept of the concept of or the methodology through which a country disregard all the negative dumping margin is what is called as zeroing methodology. So zeroing methodology is used to calculate anti-dumping duty. So this is the concept is all about, okay. So zeroing methodology is related to estimation of dumping, and in zero methodology what is the practice is that in zeroing methodology the practice of disregarding negative dumping margin, or another way of expressing negative dumping margin is disregarding the higher price for the imported product. Higher price means higher price than the domestic market price, okay. It will disregard the higher price for the imported product in relation to the price existing in the home market for the exporting country. This methodology is what is called as zeroing methodology. And what happened is the US have all in the WTO, US will always used to have a problem with the WTO appellate body in zeroing methodology, okay. So one of the reason why US blocked members in the WTO appellate body is that because it was not considering this methodology of zeroing methodology. So in that way, zeroing methodology was in use. So you can expect a question regarding the concept, okay, or they can ask a simple question, in what context this was in use, zeroing methodology is in use. So your answer is, zeroing methodology is used for estimation of anti-dumping duties. Your answer is C.